Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios.
I'm taking over James Gunn's DC universe. Okay, not really, but that's what the focus of this video is. Now, the current crop of DC projects coming from Gunn's new universe, whilst very exciting, also causes a bit of concern due to the amount of work that is being done on a few of them. Whilst we have Supergirl and Lanterns along with Clayface releasing this year, a lot of these projects don't really seem connected to each other in any way. So in this video, I'd like to take a look at the DCU projects we have so far, and hopefully chart out a better plan for the universe going forward. So, what projects are currently on the whiteboard for Gunn's universe? So, starting off with the ones announced in the Chapter 1 slate that are yet to release, these include Lanterns, Supergirl, Brave and the Bold, The Authority, Swamp Thing, Waller, Booster Gold, and Paradise Lost. Not including projects already released such as Creature Commandos and Superman, these projects at first seem a little disconnected, which could be a good thing as a lot of these will require a distinct range of tones, something that Gunn I believe has mentioned before. But how and where do a lot of these stories connect with each other? Let's take a look. Now, the story of Gunn's universe thus far is very complicated, mainly due to what can and can't be considered canon. The main project that I think has caused a lot of this debate is Peacemaker, and because of the connections that movie has to Gunn's Suicide Squad film. Alongside that, Gunn has confirmed that certain characters from the original DCEU carry over into this new world. These include the likes of Viola Davis's Amanda Waller, along with John Cena's Peacemaker, as well as Xolo Maridueña's Blue Beetle. Whilst Waller is involved with the Creature Commandos, there are still details in certain projects that seem to set up potential plot points for this universe going forward, and that's what I want to go over here. I'm going to start with Blue Beetle first because Gunn has confirmed that movie is more or less canon since it has very few links to the DCEU and the current one, so it can fit into either narrative. Superman is the movie that truly kicks off this new world and introduces us to the heroes in it. We meet Superman alongside heroes in the Justice Gang like Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl. That then leads us into the events of Peacemaker, where we see certain characters from the preceding movie in the show in minor or major roles. And then we've got the projects that haven't exactly released yet. Starting off with Supergirl, that movie based on recent footage seems to be continuing the ideas established by Superman, but it also appears to be introducing more of the cosmic side of this new universe, with the science fiction setting as well as the inclusion of Jason Momoa as Lobo. Then we have Lanterns, which sees Hal and John on Earth trying to solve some kind of murder mystery in the style of True Detective. And whilst we may not have a lot to go off of in terms of story, my current theory is that Lanterns will be an origin story for John Stewart as he transitions into the new Green Lantern of Sector 2814, aka Earth. With Hal in the show appearing to be much older, it's very likely that he's on his way out, whether this concerns him retiring or even throwing Parallax into the mix. We don't know, so we'll have to wait and see. After that, we have the Clayface movie, which for me definitely seems to be establishing Gotham in this new universe, and while yes, Clayface isn't a massive character, I think he's within the vicinity of Batman where you can have him to, at the very least, introduce Gotham as a major location. And then next year we have Man of Tomorrow, which will see Superman working with Lex Luthor to take on Lars Eidinger Brainiac, the character's first major film appearance, which I think is quite exciting and is definitely quite an achievement. Now, James has said that this movie, whilst featuring characters from Superman like Clark himself alongside Lex, the Daily Planet crew and other members of the Justice Gang, isn't a direct sequel to the 2025 movie. So, what does this mean? Now, my current theory is that the events of Superman, or at least Man of Tomorrow, will act as a springboard of sorts for a Justice League movie, and we'll see many of the heroes coming together over a common threat. These heroes can include those who have been introduced like Superman, Hawkgirl and John's Green Lantern, and then those who will need an introduction later on, which at this stage would include The Flash, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter and of course Batman. This common threat could at this point be virtually anything. It could be Vandal Savage, maybe Hawkman and the Thangarians, or even the Center from Darwin Cook's New Frontier story. If you want to sort of build your own Justice League movie bridging the old and the new together, and I think that in particular would be sort of a good base for a Justice League film. And once that is wrapped up, we can then move off in new directions and build this world out a lot more now that we've met these characters properly. So, to sort of go over what I've discussed, the first movie will be Blue Beetle. Nothing to really change here, but I'll come back to this. Then Superman really launches this universe and introduces more of the themes we'll be tackling. Supergirl continues that story whilst expanding the world with Momoa's Lobo as well as the cosmic side being introduced. That cosmic side can then be explored further in Lanterns, with Hal and John solving a True Detective style mystery with some other themes sprinkled in. Next, I'd like to place Booster Gold here for the reason that it can help continue the story of Ted Kord, which Blue Beetle established in a post-credit scene. Then we would move to the events of Man of Tomorrow, which sees Superman and Lex working together, albeit reluctantly, to defeat Brainiac, and would end with Superman realizing that the world will need a bigger team of heroes. Now, following Man of Tomorrow is where I would place a Justice League movie, which would act as an introduction to the remaining heroes in the team, including Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter. After this movie is where we can explore these characters in greater detail, but let's talk about that. Now, the DCU Batman has been up for a lot of debate, whether that be the actor playing him or what the suit will look like. Personally, at this stage, I'd love either the Dan Morrell World's Finest design or the Fraxton Jimenez comic design that's currently ongoing. Now, Brave and the Bold is set to focus on the relationship between Bruce and his son, Damian Wayne. Based on Grant Morrison's Batman run from the 2000s, James has confirmed this movie will act as the intro for the Bat family in this universe, meaning this movie in of itself will be a springboard for future projects. Whether that will be a Teen Titans film with Nightwing leading the team, a series focused on Red Hood and the Outlaws, or even a Young Justice movie with Tim Drake leading it. As for what I'd like the movie to do, some people think that Ra's al Ghul will be the villain for this movie, which I can definitely see, but what I really would love the film to do is, at least for a portion of the movie itself, have Bruce disappear and be presumed dead, and then have Dick Grayson take on the Batman mantle, similar to what happened in a part of Morrison's run, as well as the Batman Bad Blood animated film. And then Bruce could perhaps return at the end of the movie and announce plans for Batman Incorporated, which would be an interesting take on things, as we've never seen that adapted in the films before. As for the Flash, there's definitely a lot you can do with him. The movie we got 3 years ago was not good, so I think at this point we're owed a do-over.
Ah! Good God! It's hideous. But beautiful in an ugly way. But mostly hideous. Ugh.
For the Flash himself, I think you could go with Lucas Till if we're going to be following Barry Allen, or perhaps Rudy Pankow if you want to have Wally West be the DCU Flash. In regard to the story, in either instance of which version we get, I think we can perhaps show the Flash taking on the Rose, specifically Heatwave and Captain Cold, along with further building out this part of the universe, introducing characters like Iris West and maybe establishing Star Labs as another key location in the DCU narrative. As for Wonder Woman, there's still a lot of uncertainty as to what's being done with her, and my current thinking at the moment is that the Paradise Lost TV series is going to act as a backdoor for Diana's eventual solo movie. As to what could be done with it, I don't know, but for the plot, I'd love some elements of the recent Absolute Wonder Woman book to be adapted, but not just in regards to the actual story, but also in regards to how Diana is portrayed on screen, mainly her look, as well as the giant anime sword, which I think would be a great way to differentiate her from Gal Gadot's portrayal. As for who could play Diana, Adria Arjona, as far as I'm aware, seems to be the popular choice at the moment, but I'd also be up for seeing any of the other suggestions, whether it be Jamie Alexander or even Claudia Dumet, who I mentioned in my DCU Justice League video. But as for other heroes we can see, I think there's still loads on the table. For one thing, I would absolutely kill to see Green Arrow done properly on the big screen. No disrespect to the TV show, but I think seeing a film based on the DC Showcase animation, perhaps with Harry Goodwin playing Oliver, and then Samara Weaving playing Black Canary. As to whether we'd see any other characters from Oliver's world, whether that be Roy Harper or Mia Dearden or any of those characters, I've got no idea. In regard to villains, I'd love to see Count Vertigo and Malcolm Mern potentially in a Green Arrow project, but that's dependent on what comics are going to be adapted. But other than that, with Swamp Thing also being in development, with James Mangold attached as far as I'm aware, that also sets the stage for a lot of the darker stuff to be explored. So I think seeing John Constantine, Zatanna, and maybe even the Justice League Dark, I think is also on the table as well. Superman, I think, has also set the stage for some more spin-offs as well. We know that there's a Jimmy Olsen show in the works as far as I'm aware, and I would love to see Eddie Gathegi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, take centre stage in a project based on the Terrifics, who are DC's version of the Fantastic Four, so that would essentially be a Mr. Terrific spin-off. And finally, with Supergirl on the horizon, I would put a lot of money on Lobo getting his own series in future. Just seeing him on these random adventures in space collecting bounties and maybe running into some familiar faces. In my mind, it would be like DC's version of Deadpool, though at this point in film, that is an incredibly high bar to beat. But in conclusion, those are some of the things I would do if I were to take over Gunn's DCU and just make a few course corrections. I think this new reboot has a lot of potential and just hopefully James can get that right.